Living in freedom, serving others through love. It is a great joy to be here today to share with you the Word of God. In Galatians 5 verse 13, the Apostle Paul writes, "For you, brethren, were called to freedom. Therefore, do not use your freedom as an opportunity for the flesh, but serve one another in love." This is a powerful and relevant message for us today, because freedom is a central theme in our culture and in our lives. But what exactly does Paul mean by this statement? What does it mean to be called to freedom in Christ? First, the freedom that Paul is talking about here is freedom from the bondage of sin. We are freed from the power of sin in our lives and can live according to God's will. But this freedom is not a license to do whatever we want. Rather, it is a freedom to serve others out of love. It is important to note that this freedom is a gift from God. We cannot earn or deserve it on our own merits. It is a gift of God's grace in Christ. But with that freedom comes responsibility. We have a responsibility to use that freedom to serve others in love rather than using that freedom to give occasion to the flesh. What does Paul mean by giving occasion to the flesh? The flesh here refers to our selfish desires, our sinful impulses, and our fallen nature. When we use our freedom to give occasion to the flesh, we are allowing our fleshly desires to guide our choices and actions. We are putting our own interests above others. But when we use our freedom to serve others out of love, we are allowing God's love to guide us. We are putting the needs of others above our own. This does not mean that we should become slaves to others. Freedom in Christ does not take away personal freedom. Rather, it enables us to use our freedom for the good of others. When we use our freedom to serve others out of love, we are actually experiencing even greater freedom than before. What does it mean to serve others out of love? It means being willing to sacrifice our own interests for the sake of others. It means being compassionate, generous, and supportive. It means being a living example of God's love in our lives. And when we serve others out of love, we are serving Christ. In a world that values personal freedom above all else, this message might seem countercultural. But the truth is, freedom in Christ is much more than just personal freedom. It's the freedom to live a life that really matters, a life that honors God and blesses others. So, brothers and sisters in Christ, I encourage you today to live in freedom, but remember the responsibility that comes with that freedom. Let us not use this freedom as an excuse to satisfy our own selfish desires. Instead, let's use that freedom to love and serve others. Loving and serving others doesn't mean we have to be perfect. We as human beings make mistakes and have flaws. But when we choose to love and serve others, we are showing that God's grace is greater than our shortcomings. When we choose to love and serve others, we are being the light of the world that Christ called us to be. I want to encourage all of you to look for ways to serve others out of love. This can look different to each of us, depending on our abilities and circumstances. Maybe it's visiting a sick friend, donating clothes to those in need, or simply giving a word of encouragement to someone who is struggling. What matters is that we are using our freedom to serve others and honor God. Finally, I want to encourage all of you to remember that this freedom is not something we can earn on our own. It is a gift of God's grace in Christ. When we accept this gift, we are called to live differently. We are called to live according to the values of the kingdom of God, values of love, generosity, justice, and compassion. May we continue to live in freedom and use that freedom to serve others out of love. May we be the light of the world in a world that desperately needs God's love. May we glorify God in all that we do. Amen. Reflection. Preaching based on Galatians 5 verse 13 reminds us that the freedom we receive in Christ is not only for our own benefit, but also to serve others. When we choose to love and serve others, we are demonstrating God's grace and love in our lives. It's easy to get caught up in our own pursuit of personal freedom and happiness, but this selfish mindset keeps us from living a meaningful life and fulfilling the purpose God has for us. When we are motivated by love and a desire to serve, our freedom is channeled into blessing others and honoring God. Therefore, preaching invites us to examine our lives and ask ourselves whether we are using our freedom to serve others or just for our own interests. May we be guided by God's love and grace, and may our freedom always be used for the good of others and the glory of God.